Hi, my name is Vance Norsworthy, and we're here at the Spokane Central Library, and I have a guest with me. Um, Her name is Katy Purviance, and I'm going to have Katy introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. My name's Katy Purviance. I am the founder of the Spokane Learning Co-op. What else should I say?
Well, we found ourselves here today out of a shared interest in kind of finding different ways for kids to learn. And I found out that Katy's an expert at that. So we're just going to talk a little bit about what she does and what she did to create the Spokane Learning Co-op. So first, Katy, tell us a little bit about what the Spokane Learning Co-op is.
Sure. So right now, we are operating as a homeschool co-op. We've got a little over 30 kids now, ages 1 to 17. We're all outdoors, year-round, screen-free, off-grid, and kids get to come and do what they want to do. We're a self-directed education. That means there's no curriculum, there's no grades, there's no grade levels, there's no homework, there's none of the usual trappings of school. Instead, we provide an expansive environment where they can run and yell and climb and create and do things. And they're all doing this they create their own rules for themselves. It's a discussion. They create their own rules. And so they're following their own interest within community and within the safety of their own rules that they've created for themselves.
And this is a brand new school.
That's right. We opened September 18th of last year. So coming up on our 1-year anniversary, which is so exciting to say.
Oh, it's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you've been putting a lot of work into it.
Yes.
As far as who's involved, who are the kids, who are the parents?
Yeah. So almost all of our families are homeschoolers. We do have maybe 1 or 2 families whose children still attend public school because they've chosen to, the children have chosen to, and then the parents just pull them out early once a week to come participate in our program. So one of the biggest reasons why people join us is because they want their kids to make friends, right? They want their kids to be outside. They want their kids to, I think there's almost a sense that we are providing an idyllic childhood that they imagine being outdoors, running around, being free, having friends. Kind of the childhood that some of us grew up with, some of us older folks grew up with, where we just had freedom to be kids.
Oh, absolutely. And basically, are the parents finding out about your program through word of mouth? And is that what you're hoping is the way it grows?
Most people find out about us through Facebook. I'm very active on Facebook. I post in a lot of the homeschool groups. It feels like almost every day a parent is saying, I have kids ages X, X, and X, and we're looking for friends, and this is what they're interested in, and I always suggest us, right? So that's the biggest way that people find out about us. It's also word of mouth. It's also when other co-op families post about us on Facebook, and then their friends see it, and then their friends reach out to me about setting up a visit. And we're also ranking really well on Google for our website. The last time I checked, if you typed Alternative Education Spokane, we were number 3, and number 1 and number 2 were different programs from Spokane Public Schools.
Okay, so there's obviously a huge interest in homeschooling right now.
Yes.
And in reading a little bit about the process, you sort of learned that there are different tangents from homeschooling, and I've come across words like unschooling or mini
Or microschool.
excuse me, microschool.
Yeah.
What are the kind of the different facets of that, and what are you targeting with Spokane Learning Co-op?
So it might be easier to say what our goals are.
Okay.
So right now we're a homeschool co-op. We're there 4 days a week, 3-hour sessions at a time. Some families come once a week, some come twice a week. You could come, all the time if you wanted to. And our goal is to become a state-approved full-time K through 12 self-directed education school. There are 2 other state-approved self-directed education schools in Washington, both on the west side, of course. We're the only one on this side of the state. Those were the first people I called when I was really getting started. I called them both up and I said, how do you do it? How do you do self-directed education and meet the demands of the state? They told me how they did it, and that was my green light to get going. I got to visit both of them this past February to see in practice how they actually do it. So I feel very confident in being able to do it.
What are those programs for anybody that's interested in learning about
you can look them
those?
Up. They're the Puget Sound Community School, which does middle school and high school. They're in downtown Seattle, in Chinatown. And then there's the Clearwater School in Bothell, which has kids, I want to say 4 to 19.
Okay. Changing gears back to your program, what are the costs involved?
I mean, financially?
Is there tuition? Are there fees?
Yeah. So we do it on a monthly basis. It's month to month. There's no obligation. There's no commitment to stay for the whole year. We do rolling enrollment so people can join at any time. We're very flexible. We just want to make it work for families. So some will come like twice a week and some will come every other week, right? We just want to make it work for families. So if we just look at a situation where a kid is coming once a week, then for ages 0 to 4, we're talking $78 a month. For kids ages 5 and up, we're talking $120 a month.
Okay. And
we're going to keep those same rates going into this coming school year.
Okay, great. A lot of folks might be interested and unsure because sometimes homeschooling can be associated with faith-based curriculum.
Right.
Are you connected to a particular faith-based curriculum?
No. So there's 2 answers to that question. As a self-directed education center, we don't use any curricula. And then we're also secular. We're one of the, I don't know if we're the only, but we're one of the very few secular homeschool co-ops in Spokane.
Okay.
And that is the reason why most of our original families came to us.
Because that was a drawing point to getting their kids into a homeschool environment.
Right. Many of our other local homeschool co-ops require families to sign a statement of faith. And many of our families who came to us at the very beginning did not feel like that was authentic for them to sign.
Okay. I think in one of your descriptions, you talk about kids who are enrolled in school, and forgive me for not knowing the ages, but that they can do drop-in at the location as sort of for a time to get away from a screen, possibly. How does that work with kids that want to drop in?
So we don't really we do have a drop-in option, like on our website. If it says like if your child needs a mental health day away from everything,
maybe that's what I was
reach
referring
out. We'll
to.
make it happen if you just need a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what our drop-in option. Just reach out if you need that option.
Well, I think that's sort of a drawing piece, and it sounds like the openness of your program is really appealing to parents, and you're connecting not with just the young children, but the whole family.
That's right. So we are a co-op. We're cooperative. And that means that we value and welcome family involvement. And that looks like a couple different things. For about a year before we opened, I was meeting with parents one-on-one for coffee and getting their feedback about what were they looking for, what were they not finding anywhere else. And so a lot of our program is built around the advice and the ideas that I heard from parents themselves. Another way that looks is we do rules meetings with the kids, right? The kids make their own rules and parents participate in that. They get to put in what they want to. Another way that we incorporate family involvement is for kids 0 to 4, parents stay the entire time. So for example, our Tuesday morning group, which is our youngest group, all the parents are there, and so they get to build community. And that is the biggest thing I heard in all my one-on-one meetups with parents before we opened, especially from moms. They would say, I am starved for community. Like that exact phrase I kept hearing over and over and over again. And so we're providing the moms and the parents with community too.
That's huge for them to feel like they're not alone. They're not the only ones. Before I forget to ask, where is your school located?
So we're on 10 acres in North Spokane. We're just outside of city limits. We don't put our address on the website for safety reasons, but we do anyone who's interested in visiting us, they just reach out and we make it happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you found most recently to be sort of kind of a moment where you think to yourself that I'm on track? I know it's not about you, but you are driving this, not experiment, but you're driving this push for a creative environment to teach autonomy. I guess you're not wanting to teach autonomy. You want kids to come to autonomy organically. Is that right?
I try to get out of the way. Okay. I feel like a lot of learning happens naturally as long as we don't intervene or interfere with it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I know I'm on the right track? So it's in the moments. It's in the little moments where a kid does something for the first time, like either the first time for themselves, like threading a needle for the first time by themselves without needing help, or the first time anyone's ever done that, something in our space where they just have the agency and autonomy and the freedom and the ability to just do what they want to do.
Yeah, and in reading a little bit about your thoughts through, you do have, by the way, a series on Substack where you talk in detail about your different levels of almost learning yourself about the process. And one of your introductory Substack talks about the inevitability of self-directed learning for kids, that all kids get to the point of being able to direct their own learning, but sometimes it takes a long time for us to set them up for that point. Why is that important to think about it in that way?
Here's how I think about it. If we look at kids in the traditional education system, the conventional education system, there's this idea that you do everything you're supposed to do when you go to your history class, your math class, and your English class, and somehow magically when you turn 18 and you graduate from college, that somehow you'll be able to adult in a functional way. That's not true. Once you become an adult, once you're on your own, you're going to have to self-direct. You're going to have to be able to prioritize what's important, what needs to be done. You're going to have to be able to teach yourself how to do the things that need to be done. Wouldn't it be so much better if kids got to practice those skills while they're still under the socioeconomic safety of their parents' home, instead of being released into the wild with no survival skills?
Right. It makes a lot of sense, and that just struck me as something that if self-directed learning can have just a bullseye moment. I mean, that's what it's all about. Yeah. But it's more. It can be difficult, but like you said, we have to sort of get out of the kid's way sometimes.
Yeah.
And in traditional schooling, I mean, there are efforts to do that, I know, but I know also in your articles that you've written, you talk about sort of the limits of conventional education that basically it's the idea that you sit down at a desk, you listen, there's some discipline involved, you're instructed to pay attention and learn what we are teaching you. And you're trying to provide an environment that sort of says, hey, wait a second, let's get these kids that opportunity to learn earlier on, to direct their own learning earlier on.
That's right. When kids don't get the chance to spend time with what's important to them, when they try very hard to make what's important to them part of their learning in the classroom, sometimes they're told, we don't have time for that. That's not a curriculum. That's not what we're doing today. The message that kids get is that what's important to them is not important. The thing that lights them up is not important. The thing that somebody else tells them that they need to do is important. It damages their self-concept, their self-esteem. We're filling them up with other people's answers instead of creating an environment where they're allowed to have their questions.
So, Katy, as far as there are all kinds of parents out there that do have issues with their children's schools currently. Yeah. I mean, and we're not here to berate public schools and to tell educators that what they're doing is completely off the mark. It's not about that.
It's not about that.
It's about being realistic about the things that parents see that are a little concerning to them about how their children are learning. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of parents are looking for that alternative that, but then it's scary. And I know you've also written a little bit, literally like a mom's guide or a mom's workbook. What did you call it?
A stay or go school decision companion workbook. Because I've talked to a lot of moms who they see that there's a problem with school. They see that their child is suffering. They're thinking about maybe homeschooling, but they have no experience with it. They feel, even though they're very bright themselves, they feel incapable of it. They went through a system that taught them that only the system can teach and nobody else can teach. Which is not true. Moms are their child's first teacher.
Absolutely.
Right? Moms can learn algebra right alongside their kids. Right.
Right.
Like, this is so doable. So this companion workbook, it's a 14-day guided decision-making process. There's a lot of journaling and reflection about who is your child? How do they learn best? When are they at their happiest? What lights them up? What drags them down? What makes them moody and argumentative, right?
Okay.
And really making the connections between who your child is in and out of school, how school is impacting your child, how school is impacting the entire family. Like if there's fights to get up in the morning to go to school, if your child is suffering from after school restraint collapse, if there are homework battles every night, if your child is like having stomach aches Sunday night, like there are a lot of signs, there's a lot of clear indicators that you can look for to let you know if school is a good fit for your kids. And so this process helps parents to make the decision, like, do we stay in school, but we make some adjustments? Like maybe my child needs an IEP, or maybe they need sensory breaks, or, mostly we're happy with it. We just need to make some fine tuning. Or do we want to gradually shift to something else? So maybe that looks like being involved in a PPP, a parent partnership program, where they're still kind of doing school, but some other stuff too. Or do they want to make a drastic change, pull their kid out altogether, do radical unschooling? Like, it supports all these different options. Like, the point of the companion is to walk you through in a very guided, gentle way, like all the way from, I think there's a problem, to here's what I'm going to do next.
Okay, that's got to be helpful to give that parent just some feedback with what they're already obviously thinking and worrying about.
Because here's the question that keeps moms up at night. They wonder if pulling their kid out of school will ruin their child or save their child. And they can't tell. They don't have enough information yet to tell.
Right. And there's a whole another worry. Maybe it doesn't apply to the homeschooling situation for young children. I'm thinking as they get older, it's worry about accreditation, what my child, how is my child going, if they need to change schools, or are they on the right track with their education so that they're going to be accepted if they go someplace else?
Well, here's a really interesting thing that I learned in the process of creating this companion is that the research shows that if you can make this decision before your child enters third grade, that's where you'll mitigate the damage that school is doing to your child. After age 8, you'll start to really see the signs. So up until then, you might notice little signs and you might think, oh, it's okay, it's okay. But if you wait too long, some of that damage is harder and harder to undo or to heal. And I can't help but think of the Summerhill School in the UK, which is our biggest role model for how we do things. They've been around for over 100 years, right? Their motto is over 100 years old and still ahead of our time.
Okay.
I read not too long ago on their website that they will not take a child. They could take kids from 4 to 19 who are there. They will not take a child past the age of 11. They have learned through experience that there is too much school damage by that point for that person to be a productive member of their community.
Really?
11.
Okay.
And so what I also want to say is, you were talking about accreditation. Will my child be accepted somewhere else? So the college question, right?
Right.
And here's what's really interesting. If you are a college admissions officer, who's a more compelling candidate for admissions? Somebody who took English 9, English 10, English 11, English 12, or somebody who wrote and produced a play? Because both of those satisfy English credits.
Right.
What's more compelling to you? Someone who took pre-algebra, geometry, algebra, trig, or somebody who built a functioning thing that happened to use those math skills?
And how would those counselors sort of how would they know that it was a legitimate might be a bad word, but a legitimate alternative schooling environment? How do they know? Because they're used to
a standardized
concrete
system.
Transcripts.
Right. So in Washington State, parents are free to write their own children's transcripts. There are tools available online and guidance available from experts who work with homeschoolers to help people write their transcripts.
That's
based on what the kids have actually done, right? Because if I'm an admissions counselor and I see, oh, these two people both did English 9 and English 10 and English 11 and English 12, that doesn't tell me anything about who they are as people. That doesn't tell me anything about their capability for handling college work.
Right.
But if I see somebody wrote a play or somebody wrote a novel or somebody did anything with the English language that is unique and special, I want my college to be full of unique and special and interesting people and not standardized people.
And just as the alternative schooling, or I'm having a hard time coming up with the right phrases to describe, but just as the creative side of producing a play, a student producing a play, and that there's also the other side of where it's classic vocational training as well.
Yeah. And organizational skills and management skills and teamwork skills.
Okay. And do you have a goal of establishing, a brick and mortar school? I know that probably is I already know the answer to that, but maybe I don't.
Yeah. Like right now we're outdoors and off grid and all of that.
Okay.
But it is our goal to become a full-time state-approved K-12 program. I would not want to be outdoors in the middle of winter for 7 or 8 hours, right?
No.
So I do want us to be able to build our own I'm imagining an off-grid straw bale structure. So before I became a teacher, I was an architecture student, and I still very much want to design and build. And I want
Okay.
the design and build process to be part of what we do together in our school community.
Okay. So
So
you're
not
all
brick and
about
mortar, but straw
you're
bale,
yeah.
plaster clay. Yeah.
I should have known that as you're with an architecture background that you had. That but that's a huge part of why a lot of kids in contemporary traditional school environments don't meet their potential because their physical school environment is not up to speed and literally just not conducive to school engagement and learning through no fault of the children themselves, and obviously kids in traditionally ignored geographies, they're just not getting that kind of support.
Yeah. They don't get
And the bonds, the classic bonds that it takes to get past as the way that traditional education is paying for buildings. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to do in communities of means, let alone communities with lower standards of living. So
it's a real challenge for sure.
yeah. At this point, what do you need as a founder? What would you say is something you would need as a founder? What do you, not to wave a magic, not the wave a magic wand thing, but
$1 million.
okay, okay. How about aside from money? Wait, let me go back to that.
Okay.
Hey, $1 million. What would you do with $1 million?
I would like to get us 40 acres. I would like us to build our straw bale lodge, all off grid, learn about all the off grid technologies to make this work. There's so much learning. There's so much learning involved in every single step of that process.
And so, and you, I mean, the ideal scenario is you foresee the Spokane Learning Co-op as this obviously just an incredibly motivating environment, and you anticipate just your families sticking with it and just adding the children organically to this environment. Is that right? Where eventually you will be an environment for older kids for through high school. You said through high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you see with doing that?
With raising
With
$1 million?
building, I guess I should say, I should say that. Like, what are the challenges in raising funds in with your situation?
I've never raised $1 million before.
No,
I
neither
don't really
have
know
I.
how to go about
I
it.
don't know how to do that either.
I don't think I know anybody who's like, here you go.
Yeah.
So I'm learning too about how this works. Like, this whole project for me has been an incredible learning experience. I've learned so much about myself, about Washington state law, about make a list. I've learned so much. And so my biggest challenge right now is I don't know who in Spokane or who in our region sees what we're doing, loves what we're doing, wants to support it, has the funds or the fundraising capabilities or the organizational savvy to pull together and to find and pull together other people who might be able to make this a reality for our kids.
And so I know within Washington state law, they have designated ALE, alternative learning environments, as an option.
Right.
Is that something that's a possibility?
That is the first thing that we explored. Spent a lot of time exploring that and talking to different superintendents of our various school districts in the area. And we just kept running into a brick wall with that option.
Okay.
So I'm still open to it if there is a superintendent interested in working with us. But the last time I was working on that, and it's been over a year since the last time we were seriously exploring that option. But
And I'm new to Spokane, so I don't know the particular politics of that. Although I do know there are alternative school environments in Spokane, obviously. And there's one, the community school is one, I believe. Well, I need to do my research a little bit better with that. But are you familiar with any of the local alternative programs?
I visited
Okay.
some of them.
Okay.
Talked to a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are positive environments that are obviously reactions to the difficulty that some kids have engaging in, I'd say, middle school, high school ages. And it would be interesting to know about their ALE status if they are considered ALE programs.
Right. I think I put together a spreadsheet of all of our local ALEs, like somewhere along the way in all my research.
Okay. Anything else that comes to mind? I know that you and we could talk for a long time about all things education, all things alternative learning, all things outdoor education based. What are some resources that people can go to if they have questions about how to learn more about what you're doing?
So our website is www.SpokaneLearningCoop.org. We have a lot of information on there, not only about our programs, but also our vision for the future. Also, if people are looking for some language to put behind their feelings on what's wrong with school, there's quite a bit of information there. If people are interested in learning more about self-directed education as a whole and not connected to us directly, I would recommend the Alliance for Self-Directed Education. You just Google that, you'll find it, ASD. Those are some of the bigger resources. If people are interested in looking at examples of what something similar to what we will look like once we go full-time, some good examples to look at are the Sudbury schools and Summerhill in the UK. Those are our closest, those are our biggest role models.
Perfect. That's a lot of information. I have some ideas about what I want to kind of discuss with you from my perspective as a former juvenile probation officer who worked with the truancy court process, but that's another discussion. So we'll do that next time.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Katy.
Thank you.